Good morning. Opening this morning's report is a notable development over the Atlantic. A disturbance has just woken up in the central region and is shifting toward the Caribbean. The National Hurricane Center has marked a yellow X over this area, a signal that they are closely monitoring the potential formation of a tropical system in the coming days. The important point to emphasize: forecast models have begun to agree on the possibility of a named tropical cyclone within the next 7 to 10 days. But the track after formation still has large uncertainty. In other words, we have many reasons to pay attention, but no reason to panic. Today's report will help you see the full picture. Why the Caribbean has become a hot spot. What scenarios the models are suggesting. What the risk of dangerous weather in the United States tomorrow looks like. And finally, today's quick forecast. First, let's zoom out on the satellite map. You can see a band of scattered convective clouds, with the heart of the disturbance lying within the circle we've marked. If you are sailing, fishing offshore, or planning to travel across the Lesser Antilles, please note, from this weekend into early next week, this energy band tends to slide into the eastern Caribbean, bringing intermittent showers, gusty winds, and rough seas, even though it may not yet have a defined center at the early stage. In the 7-day outlook charts, the yellow-orange shaded area represents the probability of forming a tropical depression or tropical storm. The next name on the Atlantic list is Melissa. We may hear this name soon if the disturbance becomes organized enough. Now comes the part many viewers enjoy, the quick model tour. Summarized clearly without too much technical jargon. ECMWF, Euro, appears cautious, a slow scenario, favoring a disturbance consolidating in the central Caribbean from day 7 to day 10. In that case, if it forms, the system will strengthen late and then try to move northward when it meets the westerlies. Conversely, GFS organizes earlier, by mid to late next week. A fully formed tropical storm could appear in the eastern Caribbean, then move northeast relatively quickly, lowering the risk to the Gulf of Mexico but not ruling out notable rain and wind for Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and nearby islands. Euro AI, the strict artificial intelligence version, has also begun supporting the possibility of naming around midweek. With moderate intensity, moving slowly toward the Greater Antilles, ICON keeps the system weak longer, sliding west into the central western Caribbean. If that's correct, this scenario would delay the timing but widen the potential impact zone. CMC sometimes pushes early strengthening and takes the track close to Hispaniola, Cuba, then looping around island clusters, a tense scenario for mountainous terrain, prone to flash floods and landslides. When ensemble models are combined, both Euro and GFS show a prominent development signal within 7 to 10 days. But the spread of position and direction remains large. One cluster favors the eastern central Caribbean and early northward motion. Another stays at lower latitudes and drifts west longer. Let us repeat the golden rule. Forecasts beyond plus 240 to 300 hours, over 10 to 12 days, have very low reliability. What you see at long range is just a practice scenario, not a final forecast. Why is the Caribbean unlocking now? First, sea surface temperatures here are around 30 to 31 degrees Celsius, essentially a thermal bathtub. A rich fuel source for convection and storm intensity. Second, wind shear in the next few days tends to decrease in the central western Caribbean, allowing a low-pressure core to organize symmetrically and sustain convection. Third, moisture is building up widely. Mid-level humidity, instability indices, and MJO signals all favor increasing convection over the Caribbean, Bahamas in the next 5 to 10 days. Finally, the steering factor is critical. The subtropical high-pressure belt and the northern westerly trough will determine whether the system lifts north early, a fish storm, or stays low and drifts west, raising later risk for the western Caribbean, Gulf of Mexico. In short, the ingredients are ready. The path depends on the hands of the atmosphere in the coming week. From here, we have three main scenarios in the next 5 to 10 days. Scenario A. Early northward lift. The system develops in the eastern Caribbean and then moves northeast across Puerto Rico, V. The main effects are showers, gusty winds, and rough seas for the islands, then turning out to sea. Scenario B. Central Caribbean. Slow but steady. It gathers, expands, brings prolonged heavy rain, and increases the risk of flash floods, landslides for Jamaica, Cayman, Hispaniola, Cuba before finding a path northward. Scenario C. Far west drift. It stays weak longer, diving into the western Caribbean, possibly strengthening late near Central America, Yucatan. The Gulf risk at that point will depend on cold fronts and upper troughs over North America. Quickly shifting to the United States, where dangerous weather may erupt tomorrow. The risk map shows a slight level, 2/5, stretching across Arkansas, southern Missouri, southern Illinois, Indiana, western Tennessee, northwest Mississippi, northern Louisiana, and eastern Oklahoma. The tornado risk at 5% within a 25-mile radius covers the ARTN-MO-KY border region, focusing from late afternoon into night when the low-level jet strengthens. Damaging wind potential reaches 15% across the slight area, signaling a possible wind event as the main trough tilts neutral to negative. Hail risk 15% locally across the Ozarks, North Arkansas, East Oklahoma, South Missouri in early discrete storms. Residents in the Smoky Mountains and southern Appalachians should watch for strong overnight winds that can bring down branches and cause early leaf fall. Quick advice: charge your phones, prepare flashlights, secure outdoor items before 5 to 6 p.m., and follow tornado, severe T-storm warnings from local NWS offices. For today, the national picture is quite diverse. The Northeast and Mid-Atlantic are dry and cool in the late afternoon. Western New York, northern Pennsylvania may see a weak rain band. The Southeast is relatively calm, except for Florida, from Orlando southward. Multiple rounds of showers and thunderstorms are likely, with urban flooding possible at high tide. The south-central region has scattered storms from Kansas, Oklahoma down to the Texas belt, with some cells producing small hail in the evening. The upper Midwest, Great Lakes welcome a rain band moving from Minnesota, right pointing arrow, Wisconsin, right pointing arrow, Michigan, generally moderate, with short bursts of heavy rain. The west is mostly quiet. Only Montana, Idaho at higher elevations have scattered snow, and eastern Montana sees cold rain along the low's edge. As for temperature, the Northeast keeps an autumn chill. The central U.S. remains warm to hot with some spots along the Mississippi Valley reaching highs, while the north-central region experiences a warm day compared with average years. Returning to the Caribbean, here's the message for sailors and island residents over the next 7 to 10 days. Expect increasing swells, bursts of rain, and plan anchoring or travel carefully, watching marine advisories. For those tracking the tropics, next week could be the naming moment. After that, the divergence of tracks will determine whether it lifts north early or drifts west longer, defining the impact range. To conclude, allow us to restate 3 key points. First, the Caribbean is entering a favorable window: warm seas, weak shear, abundant moisture, enough for a disturbance to organize into a tropical cyclone. Second, the models agree on development potential but not on track. Every post-formation scenario must be updated closely with each forecast map. Third, within the U.S. mainland, tomorrow will bring widespread dangerous weather risk across the south-central to mid-south region. Please prepare, especially during the evening and overnight hours. If this report helps you stay informed, please like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss updates when the OOI is officially named. And as always, if there's any prayer request we can join you in, please leave it in the comments. Peace is the most precious thing amid the uncertainty of weather. Wishing you a good day, and see you in the next report. God bless.